Alright, there's no other way to explain what's going on right now other than we're living in a simulation. Gold and silver shed $10 trillion in market cap in less than 72 hours. Gold dumped more than $1,000 an ounce, and silver fell by more than 35%. But the craziest part is yesterday, midday, their fortunes changed magically, with gold surging 5% back to $4,800 an ounce, and silver rose 20% from its lows in just 12 hours. I never want to hear a gold bug ever tell me again that Bitcoin is too volatile. Gold and silver are trading like meme stocks right now. And tell me how this makes sense. In the middle of winter, natural gas fell by 21%, one of its biggest drawdowns ever. 40% of the nation's smartest students are disabled. Giannis went once out of Milwaukee, and like Gandalf the Grey, Odell has come back to Twitter. Odell the White. Donald Trump says that he's helped crypto more than anybody. And there's people out there calling for Bitcoin to fall well below 70K. With Bitcoin having its fourth consecutive down month, one of its worst stretches in history. What is going on? But let me give you a glimmer of hope. In the midst of madness, there's a glimmer of hope for Bitcoin. And things aren't looking as good for gold. With the business cycle turning, with the manufacturing ISM coming in at 52.6, manufacturing expanded for the first time after contracting for almost 2 years in a row. And Bitcoin is positively correlated with the business cycle that, in the US, administering a supply-side shock on raw materials and hard assets on the rest of the world. Today, I'm going to give you a likely explanation as to why Bitcoin is falling and why gold and commodities are about to start to fall. And I'm also going to show you why in moments like these, I zoom out. I look at the big picture. I don't get focused on things in the moment. And from my perspective, things are still bullish for Bitcoin. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Let's go. All right, let's start with the positive. Massive news for Bitcoin. The manufacturing ISM number came in at 52.6 versus the expected 48.6, which is the fastest expansion in over 4 years after more than 2 years of straight contraction in the manufacturing sector. We're now seeing a business cycle turn, which means investors and people are now confident in the growth prospects in America. And in terms of Bitcoin, there's diehard maximalists out there that have correlated the business cycle with Bitcoin's price, showing that clearly when the business cycle turns, so does Bitcoin. When businesses are optimistic, Bitcoin grows. And right now, businesses are booming. Why? Because of things like these, like Trump and the United States reaching a deal with India. They're going to lower tariffs from 25% to 18%. India is committing to buy over $500 billion worth of goods from the United States, and they're not buying oil from Russia. What about Apple producing all of their iPhone chips in America? 19 billion chips to make 19 billion chips for Apple in 24 factories across 12 different states. This is bullish for America. You don't lower inflation by decreasing demand, but by increasing supply. And that's exactly what's happening around the world. This supply-side boom is what's causing people all across the globe to not believe that inflation is going to be sticky moving forward. And this spells doom for both silver and for gold. Economist Stephen Moore joins me now. I want to talk markets for a second. So why the big sell-off? First of all, gold and silver, a sell-off over the weekend. Bitcoin, a sell-off over the last couple of months, which has taken it from I don't know where to all the way down to 77. Why the sell-off? Well, this is just speculation, Stuart. But first of all, I think that the new incoming of Fed Chairman, Kevin Warsh, is a spectacular pick. He's an inflation hawk. I think he will residential or return US to sound money and increase affordability. And look, one of the reasons that the gold price and the silver price went up is that people buy gold and silver as a rush to safety and in a hedge against inflation. But if you think inflation is going to be tame, then guess what? You don't need to buy gold and silver. So that is my hypothesis. I don't have the evidence of that, but it is clear that this new Fed Chairman is going to be, I think, excellent. I think he's going to hold inflation down. We're going to make the dollar strong again. And if the dollar is strong, then guess what? The gold price typically goes down. I don't follow Stephen Moore, but I agree with his take. Inflation is projected to go down and not up. And we're looking at more of a deflationary economy than an inflationary economy. Gold and silver are a doom and gloom trade. When inflation fears go up, well, their purchasing power goes up. But the purchasing power, sort of like equity in your home, is only good on paper until you actually cash it in. But here's the problem with silver and gold. You can't actually cash it in. That's the difference between a pet rock and real technology. I know a guy right now trying to get rid of like 10,000 pieces of silver. He can't get a real offer on it. Everybody, he's getting a 30% discount below the market. Damn, like this. This is people see it just spiking up like this and they're like, oh my God, gold's at $100. Go try to sell a underscore underscore shitload of gold. Go try to sell $10 million worth of gold today and watch what happens. Huh. You're going to have offers 20 and 30% below market because you want to sell your gold now. You're showing your hand, putting your flag up, say, surrender. I want my $100. You're not going to get $100 for your gold. Not in scale. Yeah, I mean, listen, you're not going to get it tomorrow. Yeah, much less in 5 minutes. Gold, same thing. It's got to go get authenticated. It's got to get validated. It's got to get there's a lot of fake gold. Okay, and then somebody's going to have to pay you the money, and then you got to get it out of storage. Okay, the Bitcoin, dude. The Bitcoin is a real thing. Bam. Right. I can have it tomorrow. I could trade it back to you in 5 minutes. Like that. That to me is real because Bitcoin to me is not just money. It is technology. Unlike gold or silver or even paper stocks. Okay, paper stocks is a technology but they can just keep printing the paper forever. I don't agree with Grant Cardano on a lot, but I do agree with him here. Bitcoin plays well in a deflationary thesis on the world of improving technology, improving productivity, and improving hope in the business economy. And with where things are headed in America, I am more bullish on Bitcoin than I have been in the past. With things like the Clarity Act under the works and soon to be completed, according to not only Donald Trump, but Scott Bessent, who I actually trust a little more. Here are the latest remarks from the president on where crypto is going. Crypto is a big thing, and they like it. A lot of people like it. The people behind me like it. Well, my sons are handling that. My family is handling it, and I guess they get investments from different people. But I'm not. I have all I can handle right now with Iran, and with Russia, and Ukraine, and with all the things we're doing. So I don't know. I don't know exactly other than I'm a big crypto person. I'm the one that probably helped crypto more than anybody because I believe in it. And the reason I believe in it is because if we don't do it, Scott, I think we can say then China's going to do it, right? If we don't do crypto, then China's going to do it. And it's just like AI. We're leading AI by a lot. And if we weren't leading, China would have led. They're very capable. They're very good. But what do you have to say about that? You've made America the digital asset capital of the world. We did the Genius Act for stable coins. Many of the people standing up here are working on the Clarity Bill to a market structure, and we're bringing us best practices to an exciting the new industry digital assets innovation, and it spreads everywhere. You actually wrote, you think that one Bitcoin might be worth $6.5 million in the next 20 years. I mean, that's obviously not an exact number, but you have a thesis or logic for that. Most people say, Matt, I thought you were a wise dude. But sounding a bit crazy here. So, you say one Bitcoin might be worth $6.5 million in the next 20 years. How do you get to that number? All you need to get to that number is for the store of value market to 10x. Again, as I discussed, it 10xed over the last 20 years. All you're expecting is that process to continue. It will 10x again. And you expect Bitcoin to come to be roughly as large as gold. If those two things happen, you end up with 6+ million Bitcoin. That's not a big jump. You're not suggesting a huge difference. You're just suggesting what's been happening will continue to happen for another 20 years. How could you be wrong on that? Well, you could be wrong on it in two ways. You have two bets. You could be wrong on each of those bets. Gold could not cede market share to Bitcoin. Now, that runs against most of history. Like most of modern history, as digital things stealing market share from physical things. But you could be wrong on that. Gold could vacuum up all of that opportunity, or you could have the store value market not continue to grow. And the primary reason for that is if governments stopped printing debt and printing money. I'm just very skeptical. I don't see how is that possible. It's impossible. It's impossible. It seems to be impossible. It seems to be impossible. It's not impossible. You see it in some places. We've seen it in Argentina recently. They went on a true austerity bit. It's not impossible, but it looks impossible in the current system where the impetus just seems to be spending more money. And that's part of the reason you want to do this. And what if I'm wrong by half? What if it gets to 3 million and it's a 30x? That's actually not so bad either. So on days like these, I sit back, I turn on the DCA like Check Manny says here, and I relax because I understand whether it's a deflationary boom or an inflationary bust, Bitcoin is going to tell us exactly where things are going. And the latest print on the business manufacturing cycle has me bullish on confidence coming back to the private sector. And that has spelled well for Bitcoin at every other moment in the past.